bus. You enjoying the weather?
Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. I'm out in the greenhouse, mostly just to get out of the wind today. I'm going to be doing some planting in some flower pots that I put just outside the greenhouse, and I'm really excited to do that. It's really close now to the end of April. We're at like the 25th, I think. I guess we're at the end of April. And I would like to get some of my gladiolus corms planted. You can plant these anytime that the soil is workable outside, even if you're going to be getting frosts and cold. Now, we've had a really cold April here, so I haven't gotten mine in the ground yet. I've actually put a few in trays in the house to pre-sprout because I just wanted to get them started. But you can put them out when once the ground is workable and not soggy wet, then you're good to plant these outside and they'll come up when they're ready. And to go along with the gladiolus that I'm going to put in the pots out front, I'm just going to stick a few of the ranunculus that I started months ago. I'm going to put them around the front of the pots just to put a little bit of, something fluffy there, because the corms obviously won't be showing. There won't be anything coming up then. And the gladiolus are more than happy to be outside until it gets to be about -2 Celsius. So I thought they should be good now. We might get a few nights colder than that, and if we do, I'll just pop a burlap sack, cardboard box, or a bit of frost blanket over top of them. Just something just to keep the frost and the cold off a little bit. But they've been here and they're looking ready to get out, so I'd like to get them planted out. And I'm just itching to get a few things planted and make things look a little bit nicer out, because it's pretty brown and dreary. I didn't post a lot in the past week here. I think I missed last Thursday and this past Monday, but there just wasn't a lot going on in the garden. We had a snowstorm come in. I was moving my kids home from university, so I didn't get a lot done. I have gotten, you can't see it in the shot, but I've got another shelf put in to my greenhouse here, way up above my head, to get a few more plants moved out, because I have plants everywhere in the house and I need to start getting some of them moved out here. It's now finally staying warm enough at night where I feel comfortable putting a lot of my plants out here. I won't be putting my heat-loving plants out here yet, like my tomatoes, my peppers, my eggplants, my dahlias, anything like that. I'm going to leave in the house for a little bit longer. But things that are like cold tolerant, like I'm going to be bringing my straw flowers out. Anything that's perennial, I'll be bringing out. My petunias have started to come out. So you see my petunias here. I mean, they like to grow in cooler conditions to get started anyways. And so they've been in my basement growing under grow lights. So it's time to get them out here now. We're past the point where they shouldn't be freezing out here. And if we're gonna get, like I said, another really cold night, I can always cover them up. I even have my lobelia out here. Lots of my sources say that it's not tolerant of a lot of cold, but I find that it does just fine. So I have it out here. I have alyssum. I don't even know what all I have out here anymore. Foxgloves, but all that stuff's gonna be starting to come out. I have some feverfew that's gonna come out, and I'm hoping to get some of those cool weather flowers planted down in the ground in the next week, but we'll just see what Mother Nature has in store. And I'm looking over, bring you over here with me, looking over at these pots of tulips, and I'm thinking maybe I'll actually see if I can break the root balls up of some of these. Maybe this one, because it has just started to bud up nice. What's this one? This is like, what is this? Black Hero. Maybe I'll see if I can break this root ball up and put it in the pots out front too. Most days these tulips have been going and sitting on a table outside my greenhouse anyways. I'm just ready. I need to get some things cleared out of here and get things out of the house and out to here. So that's going to be my plan for today. It's pretty mucky and wet out still because we've just had all that snow again, and it's melted again, and actually I think we're supposed to be getting rain in the next few days. So I'm just gonna work around the weather as best I can and start getting things transitioned because it's that time of year. Hopefully I'll be getting more cool tolerant crops planted out in my garden. My cauliflower and broccoli and that, if you saw that bed of brassicas or cole crops that I planted a while ago, and I had plastic over it, and then I changed that out just before the snow came to like a frost blanket, and it was flattened right down on top of them. But those plants are doing just fine out there. They were sat under snow for days, smashed right down. They're doing just fine. So a lot of those cool season crops can start getting planted out here, and I'm going to start doing that. So I'm not sure how much audio I'll actually do. I'll probably just get to work out there and then maybe show you the after when I'm done the pots in front of the greenhouse here, because it is really, really windy. You can probably hear my door keeps opening and closing in the greenhouse because I don't have it latched. I need to get a latch for the inside so when I'm in here I can take care of that. But yeah, we're gonna load those pots up with a little bit of fresh soil. I'll just top the top of them up and we'll get planting. Okay, so I got both these planters planted up and I'm really happy with how they look. You know, it's just nice to just finally be able to get something planted outside and not feel like it's gonna freeze. I'll be getting a lot more things planted now that the snow is melted and the ground is thawing out. What I did with these planters is I added that little bit more of fresh soil like I said I would. I just topped it up. I didn't replace all the soil in the container, and I added just a little bit of a general fertilizer. And then I put the tulips in and the gladiolus. So for the first one, I put the little glad corms in first. And that didn't work very well when I went to pull the soil back to try and get the tulips in. I just needed too much soil moved around. So with this one, I put the tulips in first, and then I did the glads. So the tulips are just sitting pretty much at the level they were in the big pot. And that's fine for this situation. I will pull them up once they're done flowering and the foliage is yellowed. I'll pull the bulbs out and remove the foliage, and I'll actually plant the bulbs out in my yard somewhere. They may or may not come back for me next year. It's kind of a hit or miss kind of thing, but I always say you may as well try, right? And then the gladiolus, they don't need to be planted very deep. You could only go like this far, but we're very windy here. And so I like to go a little bit deeper. So I tried to go down a little bit more like 8 centimeters or so, just to give a little bit more support to that stem. Because if you get a lot of wind on those big tall stems on a glad, you can snap the stem off the bulb or just knock the whole thing over, which isn't very attractive. So the glads are more for summer interest later on. I'm just getting them planted now so that they have time to grow, put down roots, and get developed when it's time for them to bloom. So after I had the tulips and the glads in, then I worked on the ranunculus. So I took 3 ranunculus in each pot, and these are my own corms, just like the glads. And I've grown them on in the house, the ranunculus. I had saved them over winter. I grew them on in the house for the last, 6 to 8 weeks, I think it is now. And they should be blooming, I would guess, in another couple of weeks here. Now that they've had this room to spread their roots out, they like to be about 8 inches apart from one another when they're planted, and they have about that here, so they should do all right. Now the ranunculus are spring blooming plants. They like the cool weather. They'll actually enjoy this cool day and all the rest to come here, and they'll be fine down to about -2 Celsius. Anything after that, any of these plants won't be very happy. The glads, especially if they're fully leafed out, but right now they're fine under the ground. But if it gets to be forecast to be below -2 Celsius, I'll just throw, like I said earlier, a piece of burlap or a frost blanket or something over just to protect them. But I'll be enjoying these ranunculus blooms probably up until close to the end of June, and then they will die back as it starts to get too hot out. And at that point I could lift the corms or just leave them and pull them up later on. I decided once it was all done that I just wanted a little bit more color, and I had these pansies. These are wave pansies, and they're supposed to get about 30 centimeter spread, which is pretty exciting. Pansies are usually, in my experience, a little tighter of a plant, like maybe this big, and now they're supposed to be getting like this big. So I'm thinking they should really fill these corners out, and the center of this pot, I have one in the middle here and then one on each corner. I think they should really fill these pots out and give lots of color. They're purple blooms, all of them, and I believe the tulips will bloom in purple as well. So I think that'll look really nice with all the green foliage. The ranunculus, I have no idea what color, and the same with the glads. They're just mixed colors, so we'll have to wait to see what they are. Both these pots are done exactly the same. I've watered them in with my watering can, and I'm looking forward to seeing some color out here every time I come over to the greenhouse now. It's very exciting for me. But thanks for coming along with me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.